Is the JSE listed property sector overvalued? It's been a darling of the exchange for most of 2012, but there are some people that think it may be 45% overvalued. Notably, John Rainier, who is a property analyst at value asset manager ReCM, based in Cape Town, is in the studio with me now. John, on what basis do you come up with that fairly outlandish in many people's eyes 45% overvaluation statistic?
Lindsay, that's simply on a net asset value basis, that the underlying properties that the funds own are worth less than the listed price. There are a lot of different measures of valuation and where the market should be. And I think over the last 10-15 years, listed property has been very closely correlated with bond yields. And long bonds in South Africa are about as expensive as they've ever been. And that would be a warning sign to me. I think the last time long bonds were at a similar sort of level was in 2007, and after that listed property fell by about 35% from the top of the market.
It sort of begs the question, if you've got a listed property portfolio and you're doing rather well and you're getting good distributions, whether you should hedge your portfolio now, given what you've just said, by using the long bond market.
I'm not a great fan of bonds either. I don't think, as I say, that there's much room for capital appreciation in the bond market. I think the income one is getting in real terms after inflation at the moment is about zero. And the same goes in fact, for listed property stocks.
It wasn't that long ago. I mean, it actually was quite a long time ago, but it's still in my memory. You couldn't even give away the listed property sector of the JSE. It was completely out of fashion. Why on earth right now, I mean, apart from what you've said, the correlation between the performance of the long bond market, why on earth is it doing what it's doing?
I guess it's a couple of things. One is interest rates are low, and money market, you're probably lucky to get 5.5% before tax. And so the yields of 6% that the listed property sector is giving is attractive to people who are looking for income. I think what people forget is that investing is a total return game. It's not just income or capital. And I guess looking at the numbers in the market at the moment, the risk must be quite high that there's going to be there could be some capital loss that would potentially more than offset the income one's getting at the moment.
You sent me a report, John, that highlighted the relationship between the performance of the property sector and also the all share, and it's got completely out of sync from what I could see.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting work that we've been doing. And if one looks long term at the listed property sector, and the longest stats we have is for the property unit trust sector, which goes back 37 odd years, they have grown earnings at 4% less than inflation, whereas over the same period, the all-share index has grown earnings at 4.5% better than inflation. You can understand that because listed property in South Africa pays out all their earnings, so they've got nothing left to grow organically, whereas the rest of the market and the all-share index retains the bulk of their earnings, in fact. But looking at that number, it would assume that the market currently is at the yields that the two sectors are at, that listed property is perceived or priced as if it's going to grow faster than the all-share index into the future.
And now, clearly you don't believe that?
That's not going to happen.
The other thing is, the final question here is that there are a lot of sectors of the JSE that seem to be overheated, and people talk about the overheating, whether it be retailers or local industrials, whatever it is, and yet they keep on going. It seems to me that people have a fear of not being in something that is hot at the moment. It's a momentum trade. It's not a rational trade. Would you characterise the performance of property on the JSE in that category?
I think so, very clearly. It is, by all the measures that I measure listed property on, very expensive. And so fundamentally it's not something that at ReCM we'd like to put our clients into at the moment.